The story of television. Television became available in experimental forms in the late 1920s, and after World War II, an improved form of black and white TV broadcasting became popular in the United States and Britain. In 1927, an American scientist, Philo Farnsworth, made the first electronic television system and filed a patent for it that same year. His camera tube design was known as the image dissector. Like Nikola Tesla, he was ahead of his time. At just 14 years old, he had already established the basic principles of electric television. Farnsworth's invention was intended by its creator to educate people through cultural and sports programs, to bring more understanding to the world of sheer beauty of our different cultures, habits, and beliefs, in order to settle the world's problems and bring people together. According to his wife, Pem Farnsworth, Philo saw television as a marvelous teaching tool. There would be no excuse for illiteracy. Parents could learn along with their children. News and sporting events could be seen as they were happening in real time, and we would be able to see and learn about people in other countries and lands all over the world. Differences could be settled around conference tables without going to war. Unfortunately, the television was swiftly used for other purposes that certainly did not comply with those of its inventor. People were not being educated through his invention, nor had the world's problems been settled because of it. Sadly, according to his son Kent, Farnsworth felt that he had created a monster, and he felt that people wasted too much of their lives watching television. He was reported to have prohibited the viewing of his very own invention in his own home, saying, "There's nothing worthwhile on it, and we are not going to watch it in this household, and I don't want it in your intellectual diet." Sadly, Farnsworth died on March 11, 1971, without seeing the realization of his invention used in the way he had both intended and envisioned. Farnsworth's device was now being used to control the perceptions of billions of people all over the entire planet. Walter Lippmann, author of the book Public Opinion of 1922, stated almost 100 years ago, people get their information about the world outside their community through the mass media. He continued to state, "Ours is a problem in which deception has become organized and strong, where truth is poisoned at its source, one in which the skill of the shrewdest brains is devoted to misleading a bewildered people." Victor Navatsky famously stated, "It is based largely on journalism that we make up our national mind." Speaking of the invention of television, a former member of the CIA described it as the greatest scientific indoctrination tool ever devised. Today, people watch television for dozens of hours each week. It could be said that this has been, and still continues to be, one of the most trusted means of communication and form of entertainment purposes, trusted blindly by the world's citizens. But what if you discovered that that very source of information you were introduced to as a small child and had learned to love was above all a means of controlling your perception, your views, your choices, your emotions, and consequently, your behavior? The global mainstream media still today is merely one of the many tools used strategically for priming people's perceptions. If you believe that the television is a reliable source of truth and a means of harmless entertainment, you are deluding yourself. What if that source was a hidden means to controlling the way you visualize, perceive or predict, and even conduct your life without you even knowing it, pulling you into a web of lies, manipulating your everyday life? The very device that every household learned to love and adore for family gatherings the world over has been, and is to this day, a means for influencing public opinion on government issues, for political influence, economic control, agenda setting, personal profiling, and opinion shaping. Thus controlling our very perceptions through psychological tactics such as heuristic availability, priming, framing, stereotype activation, exemplification, and of course, subliminal programming as a means for mind control. Never watch the television. It becomes you and you become it. Ever notice that the root of the very word government actually means to govern the mind? Mente means mind in Italian. Most of our language is based on Latin and Greek. But think of the phrase, all roads lead to Rome. Interesting that tele in Italian means web. Television is exactly what it says it is, a very web of lies, and we have been played like a pawn in a chess game.